How about now?
How about no?
Well, then fucking, I don't know, man. You have to hit the video button. Swipe across.
Oh, there you are now.
Oh, there you go. Well, guess what, folks? I'm Sean. Actually, I'm Dave. I'm Dave.
I'm sober.
Yeah.
Barstools and Bandtalk. Oh my frig.
The complete maritime music bucket list. Well, I'm going to let Sean introduce his next guy because you know why? He's a friend of his. And he's a new friend of mine too, but we're really excited to hear about this next genre because we're trying to experiment. We want to be educated. We want to be schooled. We don't know everything. We don't. But we want to, and we want to share it with you. So we're going to bring on a gentleman that Sean plays with on a regular basis, but also has his own very successful solo act and has done a lot of really cool things. So I'll let my friend Sean take it away.
Yeah. So this dude, I tell you, I play with him 10, 12 times a year, maybe more. Super talent. You go on YouTube, you can find some of his stuff. Does one of the best versions of Purple Rain I've ever had the joy of playing. Super talent, great singer, great songwriter. Sydney Mine's own Michael Lloyd.
Sydney Mine's own. How about Cape Breton?
Yes.
Have a
There he is.
lineage too, eh?
Hey,
Michael Lloyd.
listen, there's a song, before we get into this, there's a song that I've been stuck in my head all day, and I just got to...
Get it out, brother, get it out!
Barstools and Bandtalk with Dave and Sean. That's it. It's been stuck in my head all day.
Oh,
Do it again, do it again, do it again.
I got to do it again.
You want to do it again?
Barstools and Bandtalk with Dave and Sean. It's a country look at the end.
that's not. So how's she going, buddy? So you're still in Sydney Mines, and actually, you've been part of. We try to do a once a week frequency call with a bunch of us. Mike, you've been down there now for what? 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's got to be 6 or 7 weeks, I think. I've lost count.
So how's the old town of Sydney Mines? I miss it.
It's been Sydney Minish. It's been relatively quiet.
Mine-ish.
It only ever gets busy on Friday and Saturday or at the Robbins drive-through. So, which is great. That's why I love this town. That's why I come home. But it's been extremely quiet on Fridays and Saturdays still. But very peaceful. It's been quiet. It's been good to be home. Good to see the family.
Right on. So I did the intro. You didn't hear it, but I have the privilege of getting to play with you over a handful of times a year. And I think we were supposed to play together one of the gigs that we lost. But wanted to talk to you specifically. I mean, you've done a lot of cool things in a relatively short period of time. So one of the things we wanted to talk about was your love of country music and that whole scene, because you and I, when we're playing on the road, you tell me all kinds of stuff that takes place, and it's fascinating. So let's just let her rip. Let her rip.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to give the quick background that I've been the very fortunate to get in with professionals at a very young age. I started playing professionally at the age of 14 with guys that were 40 years old at the time, and they've been well into their craft. So I was very lucky back at home here to get to play with guys like Bobby Curry, Rob Barry, Dan McCarthy. The list goes on and on and on. And then from that, I grew into being a session guy, which is where I get hired to play a piece of material with an artist. So, a concert of 60 minutes or an hour. And I started doing that full time, being a session guy. And then I started traveling across Canada and, getting to do some trips down to the States and stuff. And it's been great. That's kind of the short version, but we can definitely dive into some of that.
Well, so you were down in Nashville last year, and I remember you were sending me and Kyle and the boys a text about what was going on. You're sending us some cool pictures. Tell everybody what you were doing down there, because I mean, you just weren't going down there as a tourist taking selfies in front of bars and stuff. You went down there to work. Yeah.
So I mean, my big thing as a session player is to basically fill whatever the artist's needs are as a guitarist and as a vocalist, as a harmony singer, or as a lead singer if they need it. And going down to Nashville, that's kind of the music hub right now, and seems to be the place where everyone, even from the guys from LA and New York, are going to go meet with people. So I've been going down there to network and connect. I've been going to studio sessions down there on big label recordings, and getting to see that whole process, getting to meet the guys that are behind all of the magic that you're hearing on the radio now, whether you like it or not. But that's the stuff that's making money right now.
Right.
And these guys are just class A guys, and they're all just looking out for each other. They're all. That's one thing I really liked about Nashville is no one's cutthroat down there. Everyone's wanting to help someone out.
Really?
Yeah, more than you would ever think. Like, hey, I got a gig tonight. Can you go do it for me? And that gig could very well be just a Broadway gig, or that gig could be you getting on a bus and going to play, the next state over for 3 nights. But everyone's really looking out for each other down there, and that's one thing that I've noticed. I'm not saying compared to Halifax, saying it as cutthroat, but the business is a little tighter here. But there's so much business down there,
right,
that they have the availability to go, oh, I'm doing a recording session, so if you want to go out on the road with this person, you can take it.
Well, Michael, I want to let you know this is a safe place. It's okay to drop names, so please go ahead, drop some names. Like who are you talking to down there? Who are you meeting with?
Even referring to guys back home, Chris Richards, who plays with Clay Walker, he's a good buddy of mine down there. So I get to meet up with Chris, and he's introduced me to a lot of people. But I've had the fortune of being able to hang out and work with a guy named Smith Curry. And Smith is mainly a dobro player, but plays pedal steel. And he's produced lots of records, like with Micheal Lloyd, and that's a girl who I also work with. She's originally from out towards Enfield Way, and she's living in Nashville. She's songwriting down there all the time, and
nice.
So I get to play with her when she's home. I get to play with her down there as well. And she's introduced me to him, and I got to because of him, I got to meet some pretty cool people, like the guitar player that played on all of what's his name, Luke Combs, all of his records. Like, I'm getting to hang out with those guys and going for coffee with those guys. And I won't get into too much dirt of it, but we did happen to run into a guy by the name of Nuno Betancourt.
Oh yeah.
One night, which is pretty cool. But like going to the grocery store and you run into Vince Gill picking out the onions, it's crazy. I get excited when I see, Kyle Boudreau picking out onions in the store. But when you get to see Vince Gill picking out onions at Trader Joe's, you get pretty excited.
You know better than that. Amber picks out the onions. Kyle does people.
Yeah.
Kyle's out picking mushrooms instead.
But ironically, he called me today and he's like, I'm at the Sobeys. Can I call you back in 10 minutes? So true story, he was out picking up onions today.
There you go.
So Mike, you were talking, I know the last time you were down there, you were telling me that you had an opportunity to get in the studio and just see how some of those dudes work. And that's the way that they record and stuff now is it's state of the art. Really, it's not a throwback. It's cutting edge, progressive. And just talk a little about that.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that music's a lot of cut and paste nowadays, which for a lot of things it is cut and paste. You hear it in pop songs all day long, and you even hear it in some of the country stuff. But the sessions that I've been lucky enough to sit in on and watch, man, these players are top notch. They know where they're messing up. Like, so they'll go through a whole track. There'll be 9 guys in a room, and they'll track the song once, and that's probably the take that goes on the album or you hear on the radio. And then out of nowhere, you'll at the end of the song, whoever has an issue puts their hand up and they go, yeah, if you could go back to bar 48 and measure 4, I need to punch in a snare hit there. I got a little loose there. The fact that they, as they're playing a song and playing it perfect, they already know where they've messed up, and they go, yeah, just punch me in there. And everyone will have the chance to punch in their spots. But it's fast paced. It's you know your instrument, your craft, you know your craft, and you just got to do it. You just got to go do it.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, that's their next supper.
that recording process to me, because I actually I've had the opportunity to record drums where you can punch stuff in. So like, back in the day, like if you were playing a 10-minute song and at 8 minutes and 20 seconds you fucked up, guess what? You had to start all over again. And now you can fix stuff. And so the technology is fascinating. But you listen to a lot of country. We were talking to Potty about this. It's it's not the George Jones 6'8", waltzy drinking line. It's rock tunes with 20 singers but killer players and good songwriting.
Yeah,
not that the old stuff wasn't.
Yeah, it's definitely shifted. Once upon a time it would be George Jones would be singing about his own heart or his own heartache and the way he fixed it, and he'd hire the players and they would play on it. Now it's like, again, amazing songwriters are pitching songs to. I mean, there are still people that are songwriting and releasing, but a lot of it's, you have a songwriter, they write a song for that artist records it, and all over it. And those players have played on thousands of records. But like you said, very rocky, a lot of pop elements, a lot of electronic stuff going on. But I mean, that's where it is right now.
So tell me, Michael, are you actually out? I mean, a good buddy of Sean's and I, from back in the day, real world, he's a good old Cape Breton boy too. Gordy Sampson. So he's down there now writing songs with Carrie Underwood and folks like that ilk. So is that the mainstay now? Is to be a songwriter? Like, you don't necessarily have to be a performer anymore. Like who are you running into? Are they more focused on writing or more focused on performing?
Down there, it's pretty interesting. You get a bit of both.
Okay.
The people that I've tend to run into, oddly enough, I'm not a songwriter per se. I have written songs, and I still continue to write, but I wouldn't consider myself like a class A songwriter. But most of the people that are down there, that's where all the labels are. So they're going there and they're writing their songs and trying to push those to those people. That I'm not too in on that, but that would be, I'd say at least 60% of the people that are there for songwriting and pitching songs.
And it's a different, we were all kind of brought up to be the guy that writes the songs and becomes world famous, and to be the person in the background is a little foreign to guys like us. But then you start to figure out, write the friggin' song to make a ton of money, because that's really where it is. And you get the talking head that goes out and does your tune.
Yep.
And some of these guys are just like ruling the world, and there other people are doing their tunes. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris Stapleton, perfect example. Now, Chris Stapleton is not the most attractive looking fella. That's probably why he never went mainstream for the longest time. Oh my God, what a songwriter, what a singer, and now that he's doing his own stuff, you're like, oh, where did he come from? He's been around a long time.
It's funny, like, people actually bring him up quite often. Like, do you know Chris Stapleton? And they always go, can you play Tennessee Whiskey? First of all, that's a George Jones song. He did a cover of it, and obviously he did an amazing cover of it. But I knew about Chris Stapleton for a while. I'd come across a video of him playing at like a little blues bar, playing acoustic. And he also played in a band called the Steel Drivers, which is a bluegrass band. And a couple years back, I was pretty heavy into bluegrass, so I came across them, of course. But his first hit song was I think it was Your Man by Josh Turner, the baby lock them doors and turn the lights down low. Like, you would never hear him sing that, but that was the song that he wrote. So I think that there's definitely, he's had, because of that, he's been given, the money, the financial opportunity to express himself as his own artist.
Right.
And you see that happen.
You're talking about that, and you're kind of, you're going to the past and then coming to the now, because we had Leith on, and Dave it was actually the first time that he got to talk to Leith. Michael is actually cut out of the same cloth as Leith, in that I firmly believe he was born in the wrong era, because you talk to Mike, and Mike, like, we were playing Fredericton one night. I don't remember what tune we were listening to, but he knew when it was recorded, where it was recorded, who wrote it, who played on it. And I'm sitting there going like, A, I don't know any of that. And B, like, I don't even know if you were freaking born when this was recorded. Just a very, like, the two of them are very
old souls,
throwbacks, right?
Yeah, old souls, yeah.
I guess that's probably partially from my parents. My father's an old country guy. He loves Merle. He loves, the first three songs I learned were Merle Haggard songs. They weren't Smoke on the Water and Back in Black. It was Mama Tried, Sing Me Back Home, Working Man Blues. Those were my first three songs I learned how to play.
Okay.
But then my mother loved the 80s, loved the hair metal. So that was my introduction to Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and huge guitars and big guitar solos. So I've been lucky that I somehow met in the middle of both of those and got to grab both of those things. But then, I've also dove into a lot of the stuff that I like, which is a lot of like 70s recordings, like America and Jackson Brown and those kind of guys. I find myself listening to more actually less guitar heavy stuff. Now I'm listening to more piano oriented stuff and drum oriented stuff.
Billy Joel and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I got lucky that way, with good tastes of music from both sides of the family.
So what's your favorite music to play then now? I mean, well, I guess I get it. Before you even answer, I know whatever pays the bills. I get it. But what's your favorite genre to play?
I think it still leads back to country, because country has so many aspects. You can still, for example, we play at Cheers a lot. Well, we did play at Cheers a lot, I should say. Yeah, insert the sad sounds there. And it's cool. Like, we get to go play some Johnny Cash tunes, and then we go play a new Jason Aldean song or a Florida Georgia Line song.
Right.
And the crowd's still reacting the same. So I think country's still the same, for like the favorite for me, because I get to still play the rock stuff. I still get to play the blues stuff. I get to play, even some of the country stuff's a little jazzy. I get to play those notes, and get to see a crowd react to those. So yeah, country for sure.
So I want to talk about Farewell Town in a second, because that's a cool band that you guys put together. But before that, probably my favorite Michael Lloyd story. I know it's not the one where the guitar landed on my head, but
I was hoping for it.
No, you can bring that one up. But we were playing at the Ale House one night. I had actually never met Michael, and Kyle says we're going to get our buddy Michael Lloyd up. So Mike gets up, and if you met Mike, 6'6", friggin' big dude, and he turns around, he goes, "We're going to do Purple Rain." I remember looking at Ryan Boudreau going, "Oh, this should be friggin' great." And probably without a doubt, like, go YouTube his version of Purple Rain. It's like, every time we play, I said this in the intro, it's without a doubt one of my favorite tunes to play, because, Mike, the guitar solo that you do in that, it's never the same, but it's always cool. And then when you hit those notes at the end, and you're sitting there, I said to my wife, it reminded me of the episode of The Simpsons with Michael Jackson, where dude doesn't look like Mike. Like, honest to God, you're fucking Prince for 5 minutes in that tune.
Yeah, man. That song pulls a lot of weight in my music career, and it's not mine, but I'd be damned if someone said it wasn't. Sometimes I was in a rough patch musically, just stressed out, done playing music. We all kind of have those phases where we're done.
Yeah.
And I thought it would never come, and I was just overworked and coming home from a gig one night, and it's kind of weird how it all happened. Was I pulled over to the side of the road and, kind of just had one of those I need to talk to myself moments. And it was pouring rain out, absolutely pouring rain out. I was in Ingonish. I was driving home. I was coming down Cape Smoky.
Yeah.
And no radio. And out of nowhere, I kid you not, the second the guitar solo started in that song, it was playing on 98.3, the Max FM, and I was getting a little bit of reception in Sydney. The second that guitar solo started of that song, the rain stopped. And I'm like, that's weird. And I heard the whole guitar solo. The guitar solo ended. The rain started pouring again. I went, that's a signal.
Yeah.
I go home. I learn that song. The next day, I'm out at a gig and I'm playing it, and it just became a staple for me.
Nice.
Well, and I tell you, like, I'm a drummer who, there's certain, like, I'm not a shredder guy. Like, guitar solos for me, if I can hum them, but I would say that one for sure. I'll geek out on YouTube on Friday night, because now you can't go out, so I'm sitting there on the couch drinking beer, and I'll play that tune. The live one that he did when he did it at the American Music Awards was incredible.
Yeah.
Taking on the Run by REO Speedwagon. That guitar for me is just.
Yeah. Dave Amato on guitar.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it's like, and they're kind of steeped. Like, I wouldn't say Prince is steeped in country, but then Hotel California is another one. I'm not even a guitar player, and it's like, wow, was there something, do better, make it, like, fix it. You can't. It was, it's just perfect.
It's funny you say that too. Prince wrote that song and originally pitched it for a country artist to sing it.
Which one? Purple Rain?
Purple Rain, I kid you not.
Really?
It was originally a country song for him, and he wasn't even going to sing it. As you know, he did a lot of stuff where he would write songs, and like Manic Monday, everyone thinks that's the Beatles, and that's him. Nothing compares to you. But he pitched that to a country artist, and she turned it down. Of course, years later, there's a bunch of like I think Ada James did a version, and like Dolly Parton did a version. Dwight Yoakam did a version, which is actually really cool.
Really?
But yeah, that was originally supposed to be a country song, so it's funny that you mentioned that.
I tell you, I didn't lie, Dave. So it's like, if we're ever on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you get a music question, Michael Lloyd, pick up the phone.
I'm calling you as a friend. I'm
putting it on Do Not Disturb right now.
All right, let me geek out for a second now, because I want to talk about gear. I'm not really a gear guy, but I was, and I appreciate it. So I want to know what you're playing now, what you love, kind of what you may have sold or gave away, what you miss. Like what kind of stuff are you into for guitars?
So a lot of my shows tend to be solo stuff or duo stuff, acoustic stuff. I've been playing Taylor acoustics since I've been 16. I've actually had one just completely split in half recently, which has been terrible. I'll send the pictures of that. So I'm working on getting that repaired, but I'm faithful to those guitars. They've kind of crafted a sound for me.
Yeah. How do you find the pickups?
I love them. I know a lot of guys talk about the expression system not being their thing, but there's something about that with a 12 string.
Okay.
It reacts a little differently. And I guess that's another thing. I play 12 string acoustic.
Right.
For those that don't know, I mean, this is a 6 string. This is my little backup for now. But yeah, I usually use 12 string acoustic, Taylor acoustics. Electric guitar wise, I've got some Tellys. I've got some Strats. Tellys are kind of the country sound, so I go for that. With our band Farewell Town, Jordan's already playing a Telly, and he's got another guitar. So I actually tend to I use a Gretsch, a Chet Atkins Gretsch. Nice. Different sound. And I've got a Les Paul Jr. over there that I use as well. I mean, it doesn't get more rock and roll than that.
Yeah.
But there's some country flair in a P90. Sure. It's kind of like a hot single coil.
Is it? Okay, I was going to ask you, stock pickups or no?
Yeah, that's a stock one. That's a custom shop Junior, and it just plays great.
What about amplification? What do you use for an amp now?
I was in a battle of amps, and then from playing all the festivals and stuff, I kind of had to go, you know what, I can't be so picky with my amps anymore. So I play the Fender 68 Deluxe, the Silverface Deluxe Reverb, because I was going to so many festivals and flying in for so many shows on session gigs that you could never get the same amp. And I went, okay, what amp is at every festival or every backline company? And they always have a 68, and they're great amps. They're clean, they're solid, they last. I gig it all around. I used to play a twin, and the twins are just too heavy and too loud. So I use that, but I use a thing called an aux box. And what that does, it attenuates the amp. And I don't even use a microphone. It takes a signal and emulates old cabinets.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I do that, but I also do the direct thing when I need to. I've got like a Line 6 Helix. So I use that. And
yeah, see, I pulled out my Line 6 pod the other day, and Sean McKenna called it a toaster. I told him to go fuck himself.
Man, you know what? I had a Kemper. I don't know if you know much about the Kempers. They're like a amp simulation thing. They're about $3 or $4 grand to buy with all the stuff. There's a guy on YouTube that compares the Line 6 pod, the kidney bean.
Yeah, that's the one.
And he compares it to the Kemper now, and like you cannot even tell the difference. It's
See?
like minuscule.
See, Sean McKenna? See? Called
Yeah,
it a toaster. Called it a toaster.
Yours
But
yours had a piece of bread hanging out of it, Dave.
Well, I might have dropped it. I might have been.
Yeah, and then for pedals,
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school. I like two overdrives. I don't use like distortion. I use overdrives and preamps. And then my biggest thing is the Echoplex.
Okay.
The big Echoplex that you put on top of the amp. They have a pedal. They have a pedal version of it now, and I have the preamp and the delay section. So I use that, and that's kind of that's my thing for my sounds that I like to get.
And it's funny because, and we'll talk about the band here in a second, because Jordan, who you play with in that band, see, the frequency is kind of the frequency is kind of a funny thing, right? So Bennett, who, God love your brother, just decided he was done. So Kyle immediately called Mike, and then Mike wasn't available for a gig, so he called Jordan, and Jordan wasn't available for a gig. Then he called Leith, and then the next thing you know, playing one night, and it was Michael and Leith, and so it's really fun for me because I get to play with so many players that are all great. But you and Jordan are, quite different in terms of style and approach. And, Jordan's the friggin', he grew up as the shredder, and he's back. Like, I've seen some stuff that he's posting where he's, trying to play some different stuff. But talk about Farewell Town, because that's a cool band. And I've seen, well, you guys did the live shot there last weekend, but I saw some of your live videos that you guys did, and it's some cool shit, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so I've had like the Michael Lloyd band for a while, and to be honest, the name was just my own name was getting sick. I was getting sick of my own name. Believe it or not. That's why I wear the hat, to keep the ego in.
Yeah, me too. Wait, no, it's COVID hair. That's what it is.
I shaved mine, so now I have to wear the hat. So yeah, I was doing the Michael Lloyd band for a while, and that was kind of, my idea was almost Toto based. I wanted to just bring session players, and I wanted to bring in, are you a drummer? Are you available? Come on in. Yeah. Are you a bass player? Are you available? Come on in. All right. And I did it as a trio for a long time, because I've played in trios for a lot of my life, or played in 4-piece bands where the singer just sang and didn't play an instrument. So still essentially a 3-piece instrument wise. And then me and Shaky started going full tilt on doing sessions together. And I was like, man, my drummer home in Cape Breton that I've always played with, Scott Musgrave, I'm like, man, he's a killer drummer. And there's this comfort thing when I have him on stage with me. Like, I know I can look at him. And he's also a fantastic sound man. He does a ton of sound around, like all the big events in Cape Breton. He's usually partially involved in that, if not the kind of the guy to do like Rib Fest and those things, and Crab Fest and all those big events. So there was a comfort thing that I went, all right, I'm going to have a sound guy that's also a drummer, and he's a guy that I can look at, and he knows where my next move is. And then, him and Shaky actually they didn't gel, like not fighting wise, but they didn't gel as players yet. They had to take some time to adapt to each other. But man, oh man, a couple months in later, they started really gelling together. And then Jordan was kind of looking for a new gig, and I was kind of sick of being the guitar player all the time. I want to entertain, I want to engage, I want to be able to sing, I want to play acoustic guitar a little bit. And I said, man, why don't you join the Michael Lloyd band? We'll name it something, and then I don't have the name attached. We can all be a band together. We can hang out. And unfortunately, like in high school, I didn't have like the band days. Like I've been watching a lot of the interviews that you guys have been doing, and a lot of guys have had high school bands. And I grew up in the wrong era. I didn't get to have a high school band. So this is kind of my high school band, but much more matured.
Yeah.
And Jordan and I have been roommates for about 2 years now, and we do a lot of duo gigs together. So it only made sense that if I was going to add a guy, it's a guy that knows all my repertoire already, also knows all my moves, also knows what I'm going to pull out. So out of nowhere, I've got 3 guys that know exactly my moves, exactly what I'm going to do. And I went, this is it. This is the right move. And I've 3 very diverse players as well. Shaky coming back from a country background, but also a very heavy Dave Matthews influence. So he's got that on bass and vocally. Jordan, like you said, comes from more of a shredding background, but he took classical guitar at Dalhousie. Very particular, very articulate player.
Yeah,
and then again, yeah, and then me and Scott just have this comfort thing from being from Cape Breton together and growing up together. So it's like the trifecta for me. And we originally were going to go with a different name, and we came up with the complete opposite of that name. We were going to go by Hello City.
Okay.
Which is a reference to a Bare Naked Lady song about
Yep.
Halifax.
Yeah, not also, a very nice.
No. Yeah, that's right. Right. Put it in the band talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
How we roll.
And then
they won't be on the show. Fuck them.
Never know.
Never know.
Not now.
But then we realized there's some improv groups actually around the city that also go by that. There's an improv group. I think they do. I'm not sure where, but I know that they're. I was like, you know what? That's too much. We don't want to take over something that's already existing.
Okay.
And then we're like, what about Goodbye Town? I think Shaky had said that, and I went, that sounds really negative.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went,
Goodbye Town.
Yeah, goodbye. See you later. It's more like fuck off town at that point.
I would go see that band right now.
And then I went, what about Farewell Town? I said, think of it. We all come from, so Shaky's originally from outside of Moncton. Jordan's from Glace Bay. We're all from small towns. I'm from City Mines, and Scotty's from Balls Creek. We're all from small towns. I went, why don't we call it Farewell Town? Because all of our towns have always gave us best wishes.
Right.
As we tried to proceed, and they've always supported our music thing. So it kind of ties that story in about how all of our towns have kind of supported us. And as we're saying farewell to them, you know, we're not done. We're going to come back to those towns and play them. And then of course it just has that country ring to it.
No, it sounds good. I like it. I'm looking forward to it. Mike, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 24.
God friggin' love you. I mean, like as Sean said, it's true. Like an old soul, brother. I feel like we're kindred spirits now. I just, you know, we're getting low on time, so I want to cover off a couple quick things before we go. First of all, is there anybody you want to give a little shout out to? Or first, before we even go further than that, how can we hear more about Michael Lloyd? Websites? Come on, give us some little plugs.
Yeah. So my website is mlmusic.net. You can also go to the Farewell Town page, which is farewelltown.com. They're all on Instagram and Facebook. As mine is I am Michael Lloyd. I couldn't think of anything more original. So on Facebook and Instagram, if you type in I am Michael Lloyd, you will find me. I'm
going to call it I am Michael Lloyd as well.
And Farewell Town is Farewell Town Music. So that's kind of where you can find all that. We're working on some YouTube stuff to come out. Working on some singles to come out. Which is hopefully in September, the first single will come out of the band.
And the live stream that you did last Friday night was Friday or Saturday?
Saturday night.
That was great, and you and I talked before that. And it was interesting because I was watching it. The last show I did before all this stuff kind of came to a halt, Jordan was with us. We did Vinny's at Mount St. Vincent.
Yep.
And two things I remember about that night was Todd, who runs the place, got us a ton of food. Like it was like all garlicky stuff. We're all up a staging spot. But Jordan being terrified because of the fact that he's got asthma and just terrified about what the heck was going to happen with all this stuff. And I just remember saying, hey, you know what? It's all going to work out. Hopefully we get to keep playing. And then we were supposed to go on Monday to play St. Paddy's Day in Fredericton, and that was it. Shut down, and here we are.
Well, that'll show you how much of a trooper.
Yeah, we're all playing somewhere. Yeah.
That'll show you how much of a trooper Jordan is. He was going to play a show with us in Halifax at St. Mary's and then drive to Fredericton to go play with you guys.
I know. And you know what, you crazy buggers, because we did one in Fredericton where Ryan and Leith, actually it was Bedak, sorry, we're doing a wedding. They played with Scott and Elise at the Jazz Festival and then jumped in the car. Now, you shouldn't be impressed by that because it was another opportunity for Ryan yet again not carry gear. But other than that, but they jumped up and literally rolled up, and we had a lot of fun. It was in Bedak and the resort there. So people don't realize, man, like you know, if you could spend a day with a band that actually does it, I mean, it's fun on stage, but I talked about this before. David might sound like a broken record. The time before, when you, a couple hours before you're having a couple pops or whatever, you know, the bonding is fun. The gig is certainly great. It's awesome. The after time is amazing. But then the day is usually a series of naps. There's not a whole lot on the go.
Yeah, man.
Glamorous, and you just don't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've even become a creature of booking way too many gigs in different places on the same days. I remember we played Fredericton on a Friday, and I drove to Truro on a Saturday, played it, and drove back to Fredericton the same night, and played Fredericton with you guys. But I did the same thing. I flew out to a gig and played that gig, and flew back and then played it with you guys somewhere. I don't remember where, but yeah.
Well, then, you know, and don't sell yourself short, because you were a trooper. Because the last time I played with you at the Ale House, I remember you played on the Thursday night. I remember you saying, my voice feels kind of weird. Then on the Friday, you kind of weren't yourself, because if anybody knows Mike's a very gregarious guy. He's always joking around. He's, you know, super shy. Wink, wink.
Yeah, very shy.
Listen, he looks like an introvert.
I feel like dog shit. You had pneumonia.
Yeah.
And we had to get somebody filled in for you.
Leaf played.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had pneumonia, and that was it for you for a couple of days. So there you go.
Yeah, crazy times.
Right? So it's not all fun and games, man, in this whole game of music, right? I mean, that's a good testament to, you know, Dave, what you do, what you do, what I do, what all us guys do. I mean, we've gone up there with sprained ankles and broken bones and bad voice, sniffles, and we still do it, you know.
Well, I mean, even this, you know, doing the Barstools and Bandtalk thing, no one's seeing the behind the scenes stuff that you guys are doing beforehand. The phone calls you're making. Yeah, it might only be a 5-minute phone call, but when you have to make 10 5-minute phone calls, there's an hour gone, almost an hour gone. You got 50 minutes of your day gone. So again, thanks to you guys too for
thanks for saying that, Michael. It's funny because I got a message from Apple the other day. It says that your daily phone increase is up by 70%. So I spend 9 hours and 60 minutes on my phone while working full time. I was like, holy fuck, there's something. But it's true. But we do it because we love it. Like and I don't know how long we can do. I don't know. Like we can't do it every day. So we have 4 interviews tonight. I love talking to you. This is awesome. I can't believe you're 24 years old. This is freaking me out a little bit. I don't even mind telling you, right?
I think that's what it boils down.
You know, we seriously, I appreciate your support. I mean,
yeah, I know. And I mean, I love every time I get a Dave McPherson is posted in the group or Sean McKenna is posted in the group, I'm going, all right, here we go. And I'm laying in bed and trying to fall asleep, and I'm just listening to the soothing voice. I thought it was Morgan Freeman I was listening to. Sean McKenna, Dave McPherson.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story, Mike. So we were going to call you about that live hit that we were going to do last Friday night.
Oh yes.
So there was a soul performer who I won't name, but you know who I'm talking about because you showed me some posts of it. You know who I'm talking about. So anyway, so we got over to Kyle's and I said to Dave, we're going to go live here. So anyway, long story short, Booty doesn't show up. He wasn't feeling well, whatever. So it's like, what the frig are we going to do? We were going to do a little ditty. So Kyle's like, well, let's play Wee Bowling.
Oh,
so
I know.
It was Kyle, Leith, and myself, and we were doing social. Anyway, we had 520 more hits than the person that was doing the Knuckleheads playing Wee Bowling. But my point is that's kind of what's been happening with this thing. It's just been it's we're trying to keep it positive, and people are it's resonating with people, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, like you just said, Dave, you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it.
No.
Right now we're doing the best with what we can in terms of music, and I think this platform is great to showcase that. And I mean, now there's no time better than now to be able to showcase even a band having fun and playing bowling. Like that's
exactly.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's still a band. You're still hanging out. There's still that connection that people are getting to see, and I think that's really important.
It was fun, yeah.
Michael Lloyd fans, the same with my heart.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I'm still a big Michael Lloyd fan, despite the fact that he almost killed me at the Ale House. Tell that story. Mike.
Oh, look, he's almost died 1,000 fucking times. He's been in 4 car accidents in the back seat. Oh, I think I broke my sunglasses. So it seemed to be twisted. Don't fucking tell me about Sean McKenna. Go ahead, tell me your story.
If he's been in 4 accidents, I've gave him his 5th one.
Okay, let me hear it.
It's a good one though.
I thought I would arrange throwing my guitar up in the air one night to the security guard.
Rock, yeah, I get it.
And I was
top of the stairs at the ale house.
Yeah, the top of the stairs, the one that the guy fell off of. So I was throwing my guitar upwards, of course, after engaging in the nightly activities where you loosen up and you don't have as much strength. I took the guitar off at the end of the solo and I threw it up, and we should have did a practice test. Yeah. The guitar came straight down on Sean McKenna's head, and he still hit the last shot of the song.
So here's the funny thing. Mike's over at stage right, and I see what he's going to do. So he chucks it, and the guy at the top, he misses it, and then everything was like slow motion. I'm like, no, fuck. Anyway, bam, it hits me. And then like for a split second, I was like, what the freak? Checked if there was blood, no blood. Okay, let's wrap it up. And then we all laughed, and it was friggin' hilarious. And the thing I said to Michael, I said, you better go check that guitar because this is one friggin' hard head, and it might be 10. And like my head's fine, right? But anyway, it was funny. It was just one of those funny things.
Did you do a double bass ending though? That's why I didn't know. Did you do a double bass ending?
No. It's the frequency. You're told when and where you can do your double bass.
Upon near death, you should be able to do a double bass ending.
I think we were doing Purple Rain, and it wasn't called for. It was a little bit more of a...
Listen, next time Sean McKenna almost gets killed, please let me use the double bass, okay?
Yeah.
All right. We got to go.
All right.
So, one last thing. When are you live streaming again?
Yes.
I'm not sure yet. We're working on trying to do another band one.
Okay.
It's a lot of work to be able to pull it off. So I don't know if we'll do another band one. I don't know if I'll be doing a solo one this week with everything going on. I think it's just out of respect that I don't do a solo live stream this weekend.
Fair enough.
I would say maybe next weekend I'll do one, unless hopefully I'm back to doing some work. But I would like to try and keep doing the live streams.
Okay.
Incrementally.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to call you because Dave and I are going to hook up a little later on tonight. I'm going to give you a call to talk about that spooning incident. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Listen, if it's between you guys, you can just keep it to yourselves.
No, it's not. I told you who it was about.
No.
But if you're going to live stream something, just give me a heads up and we'll make promote it.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. I mean, thanks for sharing the previous live streams too. It's been a great help.
You guys did a milestone last Saturday night. That was very cool.
Yeah, man.
All right, my man.
Michael Lloyd, our new friend. I can't believe you're 24 years old. That freaks me out a little bit. I can't wait to have a beer with you, brother. Seriously.
Soon enough.
All right, man.
Love you, bro.
Michael Lloyd, we sure appreciate you coming on, and peace out, brother. We mean it.
Cheers.
Barstools, Bandtalk, the complete melt of music,